Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Module 2. This week, we have two assignments for you to complete. And really, what they're doing is they're asking you to do the same thing twice, really, uh, just in a slightly different way. And really, that's kind of the motif for our class. The first assignment is for you to take the article that you've selected and then really break it down according to what you see going on, according to what the writer is doing. All right. So you're coming at this as a reader and you're saying, this is what I get from what the writer is actually trying to do. All right. So the second way you come at it is as a writer, because now you're going to turn around and start projecting it uh, to say what you're going to do with your own writing for this class, because ultimately this is a writing class and that's your aim. All right. So in both situations, what this amounts to is that you're describing the writing situation. And I just wanted to touch on what writing situation is. Writing situation really describes everything that has to do with how we understand what the practical purpose of the writing is. Now, what's important to know is that the writing situation for your author is not necessarily going to be the writing situation for you. And in fact, it probably won't be. You're going to be asked to actually say something that adds to what your source does. So the writing situations between the two of you will develop in different ways. For these two assignments, they might not seem like they're really going to be totally different things, and that's all right for now. We're at a starting point. Now, the textbook says that there are four categories to really consider when building a writing situation. And again, I want to emphasize that word, situation. Uh, think of it more as an active thing. You're situating it rather than a situation being a static thing that you're describing that's just out there. You're really taking a hold of it and making it into something by actively thinking about it from this way and that way. All right. So what it says is that you got to think about genre, you got to think about purpose, you got to think about subject, and you got to think about audience. All right. For my purposes, really, I just boil it all down to purpose because all of those other things are really, you can't describe the purpose without touching on all of those things. So they're kind of extensions of purpose for me. So when I teach this on my own without these particular resources, that's what I do is I say, just think of it as purpose. And purpose is a big multi faceted, thing that you've got to really dig into. All right. So that's what we're doing this week. Uh, One quick word about the way our assignments work. You saw it last week in our one writing assignment, and you'll see it throughout the term. The instructions for all of our assignments really detail what they want from you. All right. They will say explicitly, do this, do this, do this, do this, and they'll have categories for you to respond to. Lots of little prompts. If you look at the rubrics for each of these assignments, what you'll see is that I'm really grading your responses to each of those individual things. And I don't really have a lot of leeway on that. So that's how the grades get developed through most of the course, except when it comes to, the actual essays that get developed eventually. So what you should do as a wise student is to sit there and make sure that it's obvious that you are responding to each of those prompts. If you want to just sit there and say, this is this prompt, and here is my response to it, and just do them point by point, that's absolutely fine. If you're going to write it out as, as paragraphs for each, again, as long as I can tell that they're responding to each of those, absolutely fine. Anything is going to work. But if I can't tell if you're responding to a particular category, then that's going to be that's when there's going to be a problem. All right. So make sure that you're, in each of my instructions, I say, make sure to look at the rubric, make sure to look at the guidelines, and, go through each of them. And that's what I'm talking about. All right. So, if you need to contact me this week, you know how to do that. And until next week, I'll just say adios.